Hello everybody, this is a field maple and it's been growing relatively nicely, and now I'm going to do a little bit of winter work on it. You could say it could wait until spring, and probably if this was my only tree I would wait until spring, so any cuts I make will heal quicker as the spring growth sets in. But I have got a lot of trees, so it pays me to do a few during the winter so that I don't have one mad absolute dash in those few short months of sort of March, April time. So give me a 360. This extension that I allowed to grow out as a kind of sacrificial branch is one of the first things I want to remove, and so we'll just snap that off and that's gone, and then we'll come back round to the front. I'll move the can, that was just there for scale for people who don't know my videos. It's just a handy visual reference so you can see how big or small the tree is. Now this is a field maple. If we look at the top here, one of the issues you get with field maples, along with long internodes between leaf pairs if you're not careful, is you get an awful lot of buds in one spot, which can then lead to sort of big knuckles and unsightly bulges and lumps. So first thing I want to do here is, this is a sort of eye pokey branch sticking straight out of the front, so I can get my cutters in. I'm going to remove that fairly smoothly. I'm going to leave the apex where it is, as it is, but I have several pieces coming out, so I'm going to remove that piece. There's a bit of a dead stub there, and in fact I'm going to remove this piece at the back as well, leaving just a single shoot coming out there. Here we've got an awful lot of well, just a confused mess of lots of shoots, and I'm going to just try and take out a chunk of those, because otherwise we are just going to be left with this big lump that was forming. I'm going to remove, just rub away a bunch of the buds that are in that area. There is a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to shorten that back to there. Likewise here. Buds pointing to the sky, buds growing inside the angle of that branch, another one underneath there, all of which would lead to sort of unsightly bulges if they weren't dealt with. Several on the inside of this curve all need removing, one there on the outside as well, and again a piece coming downwards, another piece on the inside there. Get rid of those, and I have two pieces coming from the same point. I'm going to move that one, and again I'm just going to shorten that off. This branch, piece is growing upwards, don't like it. Another piece growing from underneath there, bud underneath there, get rid of that, and so on, working my way down the tree. I'm going to remove this piece here. It's too close into the trunk, and I like to have a bit of branch before it starts forking, and then I have this horrible straight piece with this lumpy bit on the end. Let me see if I can sort the lumpy bit out. That's possible. I'm going to lose it. I don't like it. And it's going to sit on the bench looking at me saying, you should have cut me off, you should have cut me off, if I don't do something with it now. So again, a few of these places, as I move down to the this next branch, we have this odd little piece sticking up and out. In fact, there's a sort of entire bulge there which I'm going to lose. It does leave a bit of a scar there, but it's not terribly unsightly. This branch may will help to heal that. There's a piece there sticking upwards, some more buds. I'm just going to rub off with my thumbnail, just coming out of the trunk in awkward places, right where you don't really want them. And as I say, they form these ugly little knots if you're not careful. I'm going to cut these pieces off now. It may seem a bit counterintuitive when you've got a fork there, but I didn't like it. Again, we were getting a large sort of lump and a straight uninteresting piece, so I'm going to remove this. Actually, now I'm looking at it again, I'm going to remove this back to here and here, and then when these branches pop, they can hopefully be trained outwards into a better orientation. Okay, here's another branch. Got an awful lot going on, but looking at it, the thing that bothers me the most is a lack of taper in the branch. It's pretty much all one thickness to this point, and so there's an awful lot here to deal with, and I'm going to avoid dealing with that by removing that section entirely. Now again, yes, I am removing some of the ramification, but this tree will throw out more growth again this year, and I think it'll grow out a better ramification. We've got a better taper to the branch, some nice movement, and let's try and get rid of some of those bits that are just in the wrong orientation. That piece on the inside of a curve, I'm going to leave that piece down low where it is, and I'm going to shorten that back to whether we have two sets of buds on the end here, and we'll see how that pops come spring. This tree only went into this pot in the spring, if you look back in the playlist, so I'm not too fussed about repotting it next year. In fact, I won't be repotting it next year. Okay, there's a funny thin little branch sticking out of the back here with lots of buds on the side. I'm just going to remove those buds with my fingernail partially along, so as I said, we have a nice bit of branch before we get to ramification, and then I'm just going to snip the tip off, and that leaves us this back branch here. And we have a similar problem in that we have lots of little buds coming off there, but I also don't like I think I could live with the fact that they're of a similar thickness, but I don't like this large knuckle on the end here, so I'm going to get rid of that. 2 chunks. That makes that look a little better. Take off that bud. Take off that one that's growing out of the centre. And then I'm going to remove this lower piece there. And some of these branches that are just going to grow out downwards, as I say, in the wrong orientation. They just waste the tree's energy pushing those buds where I know I don't want them. That gives a more interesting line. There's another piece there. Do I want to keep those? No, I'm going to leave those and we'll see how they grow in the spring. Okay, let's zoom you back out so you can see the whole thing. And we'll give you a quick 360. As I say, if this was my my only tree, or I only had a few trees, I probably would save this work for the for spring, just as the buds are swelling. That would give these wounds better time to heal more quickly, and rather than sit. But yeah, with all the trees I've got, you need to or I need to get some of the work done out of the way on these fine days. According to the thermometer on my dashboard in the car, it was a balmy 8 degrees Celsius here today. So that's it for this one, and some interesting news today with a vaccine being approved for use in the UK here. Maybe there is some light on the end of the dark tunnel that isn't coming in the opposite direction. So thank you all for looking, and please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe.